All right, cool. All right, listen. Day Party Podcast, man. It's your host, Go Lucky, and I have the lovely Ashli Cotton with me right now. I met this young lady
through Instagram.
Through Tarnisha.
Yes.
Tarnisha, what's her name?
Tarnisha Inspires.
Tarnisha Inspires. I'm so sorry, Tarnisha. That's my home dog. Shout to Tarnisha. But anyway, I saw her on Tarnisha's page, and I was like, wow. And I saw you with the profile with the podcast. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I mean?
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Right. Oh, did you have a hard time getting over here?
No, I did not. But
Cool.
the thing is that there's a lot of construction going on in Texas because they're building.
Facts.
And so they're growing and everything, which is, good in itself. But I got through it. I got here.
Facts. All right, she made it safely. That's what it's all about. Now, first thing I want to ask you is, give a little backstory about where you from.
Originally, I'm from the south side of Chicago,
Okay.
born and raised for 19 years. Eventually, I moved from Chicago to Arizona, from Arizona to Corpus Christi, Texas, from Corpus Christi, Texas to California, Minnesota, and then back to California, and now here in Texas.
So let me ask you something. Are you a military baby?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Well, the thing is that my father did serve in the military. He's a Marine.
Okay.
He was a Marine. And so we didn't have to move around with him. We wasn't military brats, as they call them. But, yeah, he was military. Then my sister's husband served in the Navy.
Okay.
He was military, so.
Okay. But me, I'm from Louisiana, so shout out to the boot. Well, right now, if you guys don't know, we're right now live in Dallas, Texas. So life. I want to talk to you about life experiences. You just told me that you've been to all these places.
Yes.
Where did your adolescence come from? Like your character, is it a combination of everything?
It is. My character is a combination of me having my own life experiences, trying to figure things out.
Okay.
Also, my relationship with God, with the process and the things that He had brought me through that I had to experience.
Right.
And also my upbringing with both of my parents.
Right.
I was raised in a two-parent home. And so my father was very hands-on, like as far as like teaching me and my sister
Right.
life lessons.
Right.
Like, the wisdom that he imparted into us, like with his sayings and everything. So that had a lot to do with, the person that I am today.
Right. And I'm glad you said that because that's the root of me. My mother and my father. Because my mom sold drugs, used drugs, which helped me as a kid to not use drugs. Never been to prison. My mom went to prison. My dad used drugs in his early days, but then he turned his whole life around there, and that's where my game came in, because my daddy taught me. Like you said, life lessons,
Yeah.
which caused me to the person who I am today. You know what I mean? So tell me something that your daddy taught you that kind of plays into your life today.
Well, one thing that my dad taught me and my sister, and he will always say this whenever I would get in trouble, disciplining, he would say, I don't play about school, I don't play about safety, I don't play about health,
Facts.
I don't play about security,
Facts.
and I can never remember the last one. For whatever reason, I always go through the list, but I can't remember it, but those were his core things. And till this day, I even instilled that with my son.
Facts.
Because he'll be turning 4 May 22nd. But the core values that I place for my son, as far as the foundation
Right.
for him to be built upon, is you're a vessel,
Right.
and eventually you're going to be used by God one day.
Right.
So for right now that I have you, it's my job to plant the seed
Okay.
and to water what's been planted.
Right.
And I always say, like, he's my tree of life, because I'm constantly pouring into him. I'm constantly showing him different examples and, just explaining things to him. Of course, at the level that he can comprehend
Facts.
and understand within his own environment.
Right.
But I always believe in a strong, steady foundation with no cracks. with unbalance.
Right. It's about, like you said, the foundation, and I was going to refer to planting the seed. Like you just said, especially when you're talking to a kid. Some of them may catch on, but there's some of them you might plant it now, you might put the information then, but he's not going to understand it then. But once he gets older and more mature, oh, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, how are you at? Because we mentioned God. How has God helped you in your life? Because everybody goes through phases. I ain't gonna say
Seasons.
Seasons. I like that word.
Yeah.
Everybody
seasons.
go through seasons. Then you'll go through that season. Then you'll go back to that season. Then you'll go back because you're not ready to transcend or progress or whatever. Any low points that you went through? Because
Of course.
let me say this, because I have so many conversations with women about men and men holding women back to a certain degree, and I never understood how could a woman allow a man to stagnate her. You know what I'm saying? I've had a lot of women just straight up like, yo, I thought I was in love, or I thought he cared for me, so I put myself here and put him here. And when we go to God, why would you put man over you when you're supposed to have God here and let God? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You understand?
I do. I understand. And from that question, I believe that, not for all women, and I'm just speaking in general.
Facts.
And just speaking from my experience, is that because you want to be loved, you want to be cherished, you want to be supported, and so you put this man on a pedestal because he's with me, he chose me, with all the underlying insecurities that we go through as women. Am I enough? And so when someone comes along to validate you, even though at the time it's not a good validation, because all the things that come along with that, because of the brokenness and the insecurities and everything,
Facts.
the unhealthiness,
Facts.
that whatever you gravitate towards, whatever feels good, that's what you try to fill the void. But only God can fill the void and make you whole and make you complete, not someone else.
Right.
And so I feel like with women in general, that I'll take a back seat so you can get the spotlight or whatever it is that you need to do. Like women, we'll play our role and we'll play our part, especially if you're a good man. You know what I'm saying? If you're a quality man.
Cool.
But a lot of times, we just get caught up in our own mess.
Cool. Because I encourage women. I love women. My mom was a single mom, and I probably seen my mom with 2 boyfriends in my whole entire life. But I encourage women to stay empowered. Women to me are like so special because I know, first of all, no man can ever say what you guys go through. You have your womanly stuff all the time. You guys can have babies, we can't, but of course men think we know everything, so it's almost to the point to where, and this is where a lot of men make mistakes, because they'll get so frustrated with their woman, and they'll say, man, I don't know what is she thinking? You will never understand what she thinks, so stop trying to think like a woman. You're not a woman. That's what freed me, because I was so frustrated trying to think like a woman. I think that's why a lot of women have mistakes too, because they try to think like a man. You're not a man, I'm not a woman.
Right.
So we come to a pivotal point. You know what I mean? To where you agree to disagree. I want hot dogs, you want french fries. You want french fries, I want a banana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, then like I say, like with God, it's like, I think God is special. I think this universe is special. I think everything around us is special. So, and it amazes me when I see a person that don't have that self-confidence. You understand what I'm saying? Because you only live once. I remember a teacher of mine told me years ago. I remember I was in high school, and so much crime was going on in my neighborhood. And the teacher said, "These kids around here living like they can die today and come back tomorrow. And I thought about that. I remember sitting in class, I thought about that. I said, because I thought about it. I was thinking like that. Like, I could do this again another day. But you can't. So it's like moments like this, like right now, what we're doing right now, I take moments like this to speak to the people that's not even out here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So give me something, like give me an experience where God worked on you and you know it was him and you know what I'm saying, like a turning event, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I have so many.
Right.
As far as, my testimony is concerned, I have probably 4 to 5 pivotal events that has happened in my life. And the thing is that's why you have to have a personal relationship with God to bring you through to the other side of whatever your process, whatever it is that you have went through, because without him, it could take you out. I mean, the things that I've experienced and gone through that nobody probably realizes or know, because I haven't openly discussed and shared it. There are witnesses during those different seasons of my life who have seen it and experienced it with me.
Right.
But as a whole, one thing that I could say that's part of my testimony that I'll actually be sharing on the live talk show. Okay. Because I feel like people need to know your story, and you have to be willing to be transparent and share your story, because it's your truth. Nobody can ever refute what you've been through.
Facts.
If you told me your truth right now, I can't be able to say, you didn't go through that. No, you lying. That's not what happened. You know what I'm saying? And so in the word, Revelations 12:11, it says that we overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. Facts. The testimony is important. So I said all that to say, there was a point in my life when I was in Tucson, Arizona, and I was coming off of being on my own, and this is when I was a baby in Christ. So this is when I was finding and seeking, trying to just figure out life itself. So I became a baby in Christ. I've always believed that Jesus was Lord, hearing of him, going to church, Easter, Christmas, because I wasn't fully walking with him and probably back then wasn't saved. So there was a church that I was invited to by a mutual friend who I went to college with. And so I said, okay, yeah, I'll go, sure, my friends are here, I'm not the only one living in Tucson, Arizona, so yeah, I'll go, I'm invited. And since they were going, I just all of a sudden started going to the church. There was another ministry that joined the church that we were going to. Okay. And when that ministry joined, all hell broke loose. It became an occult because of the spirit that this particular person had that was a false prophet.
That's cold.
Yeah.
And it just wiggled its way around the congregation.
And the thing is that it was such a young ministry, and it was somewhat diverse because you had young men and also young women, because at the time I was in my early 20s. Real early 20s, you know what I'm saying, still young, trying to figure it out. And then when I finally want to walk fully with the Lord, and when I look back at it now, because